the cold Portland. I actually made this list while I was sitting on an airplane. This this short video of tips for traveling with kids comes from the heat of the moment sitting on a plane with kids. So too much stuff is no good when traveling with kids. I say this all the time. I'm gonna keep saying it. Don't do it. Coming back into Portland over the weekend, I had brought 3 suitcases. It was too much, and I brought 3 suitcases because this is all that we own. We're minimalist. My advice is to not bring a carry-on for the kiddos because they're not gonna wanna carry it, and they're just gonna get tired, and it might even slow them down. So if they're already slow enough, right, tinier legs, just get yourself a carry-on or one per adult, and then do just like a medium depending how large your family is. Myself, it's just me and my son, so I would say for us what would be perfect is one medium to large size, like 24-inch check-in bag that has all of our items, and then just my 20-inch carry-on bag and just 2 backpacks, one for him, one for me, and that's it. That's what I would even suggest for someone like us who were on a 3-month visa to travel, and even if you're going to live somewhere else, to do it that way and just keep everything you own at a specific location. If you're flying on like a budget or traveling on a budget like we are, I still pay for this. I pay for our comforts because it can be very exhausting traveling with kids already, and you just don't want to make it worse. So for myself, I pay for these comforts. Even on a budget, even living frugal as we do, I pay for this because at the end of the day, I don't want to get sick from traveling. I don't want to be too wiped out because I'm the one that has to provide. I'm the one that has to cook or, go to the restaurant, bring us here, bring us there. I'm still responsible for others, and I need my energy for that. So I find that more valuable than the $35 that it cost me to check my bag at United, because it's $35. So that goes into food as well. So I don't bring our lunch or dinners if we're flying, depending on what time. I don't bring our meals with us. I buy at the airport when we have our layover, and I'll go into that as well. But for snacks, I bring Cliff Bars. I might bring like a small bag of his O's just to help keep him busy, but we don't really need to do that anymore. He's kind of grown out of that. I would suggest that for tiny toddlers or tinier kids, to have a lot of snacks. I used to do that, and just my whole backpack was just covered in snacks whenever we travel when he was younger, and that was just because for some reason they whine a little less. They're a little bit less moody when they just are constantly being fed these like little O's or like Cheerios, or like little bars, and just constantly like little crackers, little pretzels. For him, we just use Cliff Bars, and obviously constantly watering down. So what I do is I take 2 of our water bottles and empty and bring them to the airport and just consistently fill them up. And then obviously on the plane, they pass out a lot of water, and I will just keep filling our water up on the plane, free water, and this way we're always hydrated. That water bottle probably never goes down because being on a plane, it really dehydrates you, and that's just something. I mean, my lips were even really chapped after this weekend, and I drank a lot of water, so that should tell you. Lama, lama, lama. If we didn't have an apartment, I would actually prefer to leave our stuff in a storage unit rather than with family. And it's not that I don't trust my family, I love my family, but you always have to consider that basements get flooded out. So wherever your family is keeping your stuff, that's something to consider as well. I would rather choose a storage unit. I think that would be much cheaper, depending how much you have. I mean, again, we're minimalists. It's the lifestyle. It doesn't cost much, right? So so I think it would be cost effective or just hassle effective if we did it this way. And looking back to staying in Costa Rica, I think the entire experience would have been much easier if I had just done this from the start. That's because I also brought like blankets and like literally everything we owned. And so going from Airbnb to Airbnb was not comfortable at all doing it this way. So another thing, keeping kids busy is an obvious one, right? So I have a book of like a multiple game book where it's just one like thick book that has stickers, puzzles, coloring, and I bought it from Amazon for like $5 or $8, and tablet, as well as a stuffy. So a stuffy is, Em likes his monkey right now, stuffed animal, but things we do not bring, and I learned this the hard way, and I brought this up in my last video, we don't bring blanket, neck pillow, and I don't layer. I really will just put him in a t-shirt, and myself too, so both of us, a t-shirt and either a sweater or a jacket. We're not going to bundle up for the plane and then carry around jackets all day long. That's not going to happen. So I think what I'm just trying to avoid whenever I travel is being that person that has like a million things over them, right? And instead just be as like clean and effective as far as like moving through airports. And I think that goes into my next tip, which is to make extra time for the kids to travel, because you are traveling with children. So if we are road tripping, I always add 2 hours additional to the GPS ETA. That's the actual ETA for us, because you will have potty breaks, you will have snack breaks, or just sightseeing. You know, the kiddo wants to stretch his legs. You do too, probably. So always 2 hours extra every time. And if you're flying in a plane, you want the layover. You want at least one. 2 would be too much for me, but you want at least 1. And I say that because you want to take the opportunity during this time to eat, not on the airplane, actually go somewhere, sit down, have a nice flight break, if you will. Have your kiddo or kids stretch their legs. Running through the airport, because they probably will run, is just healthy. It's what they need from sitting for so long. Getting that nice break in between. You want to make the break no less than 2 hour layover, because if you're coming back into the States through customs to catch the next flight, you're going to have to go through customs and then come back in through security, check your bags again. And so you really, even if you're not coming through customs, you don't want to run through a long airport. You don't know where these gates are in some of these airports. So like Denver airport, I just won't ever do again. But always no less than 2 hour layover, especially with kids. They're slower than you. They have tinier legs, most likely. Getting a TSA pre-check, if you're not like military, if your company doesn't provide it, and I know some credit cards do provide it. If they do, I would take full opportunity of that. But for myself, I bought it. For me, it was $85 for 5 years. That includes a kid, I think either under 16 or 12. I don't know the exact age because Em isn't that age yet. So it's free for them with the adult. So per adult is $85 for 5 years. And that's everywhere in the US. So coming back into the States from Costa Rica, they didn't have a TSA fast lane, but leaving the States they did. And it really helps with kids. You don't have to take your shoes off. You could just throw your stuff in the line and just go. This one's a little more unusual. I highly suggest enrolling kids, if you're staying for longer than 2 weeks in a location, enrolling kids into a school, an international school or a local school in the area. If they'll take them, I don't know, certain age groups have different types, or if not an actual school, a place where they can go every day to do an activity, whether that be like yoga, where they can go, if not every day, almost every day. And this is because A, it gives us a break as parents to just be ourselves. B, it actually teaches the kids more social skills, being in that area, especially internationally with different languages. So being in Costa Rica, I took full advantage of throwing him into a Spanish immersion school. It is, in my opinion, it's so great for them also to learn how to network at a really young age. This can actually carry them through life as an adult into even their career field as an adult. The best networkers I've ever known were those that had extensive travel growing up. No matter where you're going, always check the transportation, because depending how small or how many kids you have to carry, I mean, it's exhausting. So, and they're not going to want to do it, and you're not going to want to do it. So, whether that be riding train or transit, or for us in Costa Rica, it was an e-bike. In the States, it's, Ubers and Friends right now, and then, into a car, because cars are cheaper in the States than they are or at least Costa Rica, from what I've seen. So, so I would definitely always consider that as a huge priority when traveling, no matter how long you're traveling with kiddos in other locations. I think it was day 2, we were in Costa Rica, and I thought I could walk around the town. It was a pretty walkable town, but the distance from where we were living to M's school, there was no way. It was a 20-minute bike ride, one way, and it was 95 degrees with 40% humidity, so that wasn't going to happen. Even walking, I think it was like 400 kilometers to the beach from our home, got tired pretty quick because of the heat.